pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Town Council meeting 2020-20. And let's see, what do we got here? Let's do that. Dial in, log in. We're at the, can do a Zoom. Okay. We'll call the order, first order of business. Public announcements. The details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. For the November 3rd, 2020 election, absentee ballots applications are available online and via phone through October 29th. The 2020 dog licensing tags will be available at the town office on October 15th. Current 2020 dog licenses expire on December 31st. The annual Household Hazardous Waste Day will take place Saturday, October 17th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Winslow Public Works Garage. Residents of Fairfield must pre-register at the town office to participate. Public hearings. There are none?
Oh, you missed one.
No.
Okay.
No, that was a cross out.
Okay.
We will go over that at another point. Public comments. Limited 3-minute equivalent to public speaking. Members of the public may email comments to the council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. the day of the meeting on any topic or agenda item. Items may be read aloud at this time. Are there any items that anybody sent? And there is nobody here from the public, so we'll presume that nobody wants to say anything. Reports from staff and committees. First, we will have the town manager's report, who has a few things to say.
Always have a few things to say. So on September 28th, as well as October 7th, the union contract negotiating team for the council and myself met with the police union regarding their new contract. That seems to be going smoothly. We'll be meeting again at the end of the month. And hopefully we'll have a new contract soon. Also, the 26th of September through October 5th, I was out on vacation, but everything here ran smoothly and all was quiet. October 5th was actually 35-year veteran employee Cindy Tuttle's last day. She has officially retired from her assessing position here. We'll be sorry to see her go, but we do appreciate her dedicated service to the town. And we've also had another staff change that's coming up. Deputy Treasurer Amanda Soul. Tomorrow will be her last day. She's leaving after almost 18 years of service for the town for a new position. These positions will be advertised shortly, so if you know of anybody who's interested or is a certified assessor or is interested in the Deputy Treasurer's position with a good background in accounting, to please send them our way. And then also the child care program that's being facilitated by the Alphon Youth Center has started here in the community center. I know they're trying to spread the word about that program for folks. Their numbers last week, I believed they had 6 actual children that would be attending and a few applications still in process. So there's plenty of space left for kids, so anybody who's interested in that, please reach out to the school. And that is it for me.
Okay, very good. Any committee reports? Yes.
The Economic and Community Development Committee met yesterday, and the main Economic Recover Grant Program Phase 2 funding, which is being coordinated through the Central Maine Growth Council. There's more money available, so if small businesses need to have some relief, they should be contacting the Central Maine Growth Council. The Town Farm Road Residential Development Study was discussed, and this is what the study is. We've seen this one. And the good thing about this is it's done and it's ready for the future. And if people are interested in developing out that way, this is a very good resource for us. Conversations will be held with Goodwill Hinckley, KVCC, and utility companies to help pave the way for future development at the Town Farm Road, and at least to get ready in case there are developers who'd like to take this over. It'd be nice to have the groundwork all laid out. We also discussed Mill Island Playground Project, and during the winter, Garvin Donegan and myself will be putting together a survey, and it will be going on our town website, and people can fill it out. What we're hoping to do is to have a project that's encompassing. So it's like we're going to put all our apples in a basket rather than nitpick certain areas and keep going for grants. So we're going to go and try to put everything in one basket to make it more viable for a grant opportunity. And so we'll be looking at the murals, we're going to be looking at possibly a boat landing, see how we can utilize the water frontage for the Mill Island Playground Project. And let me see, I think that's just about it. And so look for us in the coming months for the survey. More information will be coming. We're also going to need volunteers to form a committee. So keep that in mind in case somebody would like to work with us. And that's it. Our next meeting will be November 10th.
Okay. And I'm going to bring Peter to the Legislative Policy Committee.
Evening. On September 24th, the Legislation Policy Committee had their first Zoom meeting. And the staff, the senior staff, was very surprised about how the meeting lasted 29 minutes. Because we had a straw poll before a meeting, which only 19 attendees sent their polls in. Then we had another poll during the meeting, right before the meeting started. So 75% of the attendees, there was only 44 attended, was to protect the core plus. What that is to protect the moving revenue sharing to 5%, sales, the state sales income tax, 100% reimbursements under the homestead exemptions and state funding for 55% of the K through 12, and funding the broadband expansion. The legislation policy staff will keep us informed in the during months since the agenda has been set already for the legislators. The November meeting has been canceled. The next meeting won't be until January.
Wow.
Right after the legislature, the 1/30th legislature gets into session. So it's going to be the January 28th, the next meeting, the 25th of February, then March, and April might be determined if we need any more. And that they'll keep us informed on any bills that's important to the towns. So that's it.
Excellent. I did add one more thing to it when you talked about sales tax. I don't know if anybody saw the reports or not, but the grand opening of the marijuana shops on last Friday. Over the weekend through Monday, they did over $250,000 in sales and returned $25,000 in sales tax.
Good deal.
So, well, I don't know if it's a good deal or not. But
More money to come.
anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. Okay, we'll go to the fifth order of business, which is the,
John,
yes.
I understood
Christine
you.
had some stuff on voter
You were
election
gonna-
absentee.
I'm sorry.
I was going to provide information on the election.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
We'll let,
yep.
we'll let the town clerk give us some election information.
I was asked to pull some details, so we're up to roughly 1,400 absentee ballot requests, and 700 of those roughly have come back. And of those, approximately 550 were electronic requests, roughly 100 were by phone, with the balance being written by mail or written by the voter in person. And in the public announcements, the 29th is the last day to request an absentee ballot, either by phone or electronic. The state has extended the in-person requests for Friday, the 30th, and that's the only way we can receive them, for the regular cutoff being extended to Friday just for in-person. And speaking of in-person, so right now, voter registration is being processed by mail, but the cutoff for that is at the end of this week. After Friday, anything that we receive in the mail, we'll have to give a notice, and people will have to come in person with proof of identification and proof of residency versus sending that information through the mail. So they'll have to come in person if they're looking to update their voter registration to Fairfield or have a change within Fairfield. And we're encouraging folks, and we appreciate the fact that folks are using that drop box that was afforded to us through a grant at the state, and it's working quite efficiently. We're able to capture some efficiencies with the processing of batches. It's safe, it's secure, and so far folks love it, and they can use that also for town payments as well. So thank you for everybody, for the folks that are getting the ballots back early. We really appreciate that.
Very good. Very good. I've got a couple of things on Halloween, if you want to do it on this one as a committee or wait till the council workshop. Which would you prefer?
It's up to you. It makes no difference. It's technically
Okay.
announcements, so,
Well-
but it doesn't matter.
All right, then I'll hold it as a committee. Just wanted to report that the Fairfield police officers are holding an in-car Halloween event on Saturday, October 31st, 2020, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, this will be held at the Pal Fields on the Industrial Drive, and they are expecting 10 or more stations that families can drive up to and have candy delivered to their vehicles. Officers will be practicing strict social distancing rules for the safety of our children. And if you're interested in handing out candy during the event, you may contact Chief Gould at 453-9393, extension 800. If you wish to attend the event with children, just turn on to Industrial Drive after 5 p.m. on Halloween night and follow the signs. Now, also, in the same situation, the town will post on their Facebook page, not on their website, but on their Facebook page, a link to the state's guidelines regarding Halloween activities. Because it's going to be testy out there. There's probably, I expect, a lot of people that are not going to give out candy, and it's going to be a touch and go. From what I've seen, I saw in the paper today that they were going to shut down or pretty much control Burley Street in Waterville, where they usually shut the street down and everybody participates and all of that type of thing. And also, I wanted to report on the library, the children's library curbside Halloween is going to happen. It's going to be in front of the library on Friday, October 30th, the day before, and it'll be from 3 to 5:30. And that's the library children's curbside social distancing Halloween. And we are still planning to get out some food of our spooktacular decorations for people to stop by for photo opportunities and a treat. People must follow all current health and safety guidelines and adhere to social distancing at all times. We will have disposable masks if people need them, and we will turn people away if they refuse to adhere to the protocols. So that kind of gives you a general idea, because I know it's been a lot of questions of what's happening on Halloween and what are we going to do and what's going on and that type of thing. So we will just go from there. Now we move on to the fifth order of business, which is the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine or standard business, therefore will be enacted by one motion unless a council member requests that that item be removed and acted as a regular action item on the agenda. Item 20-137, which is ordered that the town of Fairfield hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting 2020-19 held on September 23rd, 2020. And item 20-138, ordered that the town council approves the treasurer's warrant number 22, general fund, in the amount of $758,294.45. That's KWD, MMEHT, MMA Workers' Comp, Motor Vehicle, NE Salt, Pike, and MSAD 49.
So move.
Second?
Any discussion? Yes, Stephanie?
On the expense summary report,
Yep.
under PWD paving,
Yep.
why is that in the minus? Was that paid out, the $265,990?
Because there's transfers that need to be done out of the general ledger paving account to cover the stuff. So this goes in just as an expense, and that expense line will run to the negative, but that'll get moved out and credited against the paving funds. Not to mention also that with the Savage and West Street project, we had to pay upfront for that project, and we get reimbursed by MDOT.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All in favor? Carries fully. Moving to the sixth order of business, which is to take action on the following items of business. The first item is 20-139, in order that the town council hereby confirms the manager's appointment of RJD Appraisal as the interim assessor for the remainder of a one-year term set to expire on the date of the 2021 Town Council Annual Organizational Meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
How much, you got an amount on that, Michelle, on how much it's going to cost us?
So to date, we have spent, because I thought that might be a question. To date, we have spent $8,700.
And will this person, with RJD, will it be the same person that will be doing this, or is it a group of people?
So we contract, it's the firm, and they have multiple employees. They try to keep the same person in a municipality. They cover municipalities all over the state, but it's not always guaranteed that we will get the same person. We have been dealing with two people since this started, and the owner of the company. The owner of the company is the one that actually signed off on the commitment and all of that paperwork. And so right now, the gentleman that's here with us, Jay, he was here today. They typically are here one day a week now that the commitment is done, just to try to keep some things in check until we can get a replacement person in that position.
Thank you.
And just so you're aware, so the contracted price is $600 a day for the person. And that's actually less than some of the other firms that we have spoken to, so.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carries full. Moving on to item 20-140, order that the town council hereby approves and accepts funds from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant in the amount of $15,374.18 for the acquisition of one Lucas chest compression system and external power supply.
So move.
Second?
Any questions?
I have a question for Dwayne. If he's still on.
He's still there.
Still there?
There he is.
Will this be utilized immediately, or again,
Let's hope not.
no, I know. I was trying to read my notes. Nice piece of equipment, but when will it be utilized? When will it be utilized by the responders or the EMTs? Is it be by Med 1 or?
Yeah, it'll be put on Med 1. Because we haven't ordered it yet, we have to wait for the funds. And then there will be training. So I'm going to guess, and it is just a guess, sometime the second week in November or so. Excuse me, the middle of November. By the time we order it, we get it, and we get the training done, and we put it in service on the truck.
Okay. You don't know if there's any lost time? Is this just a setup for the ambulance service gets there?
No, my understanding is once you put the device on the patient, you leave it there, and it goes through until they get to the ER.
Is this replacing the old-fashioned compressions? Are you doing compressions first, or is this after the fact?
Probably start doing compressions until you get the device and get it set up and get it on to the patient.
Or is this because EMTs going to get exhausted after compressions? Or is this going to replace it, the compressions?
Yes, it replaces the compressions. Yeah, it is due to exhaustion, and also it's more consistent. You get a calibrated stroke on the machine, so it's more, instead of a human being, sometimes they'll go deeper and sometimes they won't go deep enough.
So this is going to be the new standard? We're going to do
Yeah.
compression?
Yes. It's been a standard elsewhere for quite a while. It took a long time to get it here, approved for here in Maine.
Interesting.
Okay, that's it.
All right, any other questions? All in favor? Carries full. All right, moving on to item 20-141. Order that the town council hereby cancels the October 28, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Just, I know we was talking before the meeting, but explaining to the residents why we're going to cancel the meeting.
So there was a conversation about whether or not we were going to need the October 28th meeting, just because of the level of business that you have. But I thought, I didn't realize this item was still on the agenda, and we were going to leave it. And that if it gets to the point that we go to set the agenda for your next meeting in 2 weeks and we don't have anything, we would just cancel this meeting so you wouldn't need to meet. We had actually I had a conversation with John regarding this meeting today, because before, when we were setting the agenda, the only thing we knew about that you had for an action item was this grant that you just approved for the compression item. So it was kind of one of those things where whether or not you actually need to come together and meet if you had enough business. So that was it. But at this point, my recommendation was actually going to be that you keep this and you keep the plan to meet on the 28th, and we will make that decision next week when we know, because we have absolutely no idea what could happen within the next week and a half when we set the agenda.
Will
So-
that a meeting location be changed since,
Well,
Okay.
it's
No.
because of the closeness to the election, and
Right.
it's going to be such a
Okay.
nightmare.
And it's just,
I mean,
it's a busy time
we're-
in the office, that
Right.
sometimes what happens is the town council, other than signing the warrant, there are things that can just wait because of the work that the council meeting
Right.
itself
I
generates.
mean, the council
So-
can come into the office
To sign the
separately and
warrant.
sign the warrants.
Right. We would
And
continue.
we were looking at also, which we'll bring up in the next item, but moving the meeting to November 18th.
You've already voted that.
Right.
That was
That's
done.
already been voted on.
That, you only have one meeting in the month of November. You
Right.
did that when you set your calendar at the beginning of the
Yes.
year. So to get you beyond the November election, because it
Correct.
is so busy.
Yep.
That has been done. But we are not sure about the 28th, because it's a pretty big span between now and November 18th. Last year, if you recall, we had one meeting in November and one meeting in December. And the fact that we only met the one time throughout the course of the month actually generated a lot more work than it would have had you actually kept to your regular schedule. So that's why I wasn't prepared to say for sure that you're definitely not going to need the 28th, because we just don't know.
Well, I still would prefer to cancel the 28th if we need to do another meeting to maybe set it up a little bit sooner, just because it is so close to that election, and it can be such a nightmare for the clerk, number one, and number two is the building itself and things like that. And looking at the total overall agenda, there doesn't really appear to be anything that is major coming other than signing the warrants coming up. Just my opinion.
I missed who was the second. Who was the second on that? Was that Mark? Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any questions or anything? All in favor? Carries full. Okay. All right, now, moving on to the seventh order of business, which is council workshop and other business. All right, the first on that agenda is to discuss proposed revisions to the public safety ordinance, basically parking on Cottage Street.
So you have in your packets a copy of the report from the radar trailer being up there on Cottage Street.
Yep.
It was in place from September 29th through, well, the reports run from September 29th through October 6th. I think the trailer was actually pulled on the 5th because there's no data for that. And so that basically, and Chief Gould is on here too tonight so that he can give you more information, answer more of your questions. But this report does go through the vehicle count on those particular days and the speed limits and the violations. The speed limit for this road was actually set at, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, I think it's 25?
Correct.
Yeah.
And if I can speak, you'll see the high, which was on the first. The high average speed was 13, but you need to take into account that this road is under construction, so there's a lot of pylons in the road. I wasn't expecting to see very high numbers. I wasn't shocked to see that the amount of vehicles exceeding the speed limit was as low as there was. I think there's 224 reported violations out of 1,884 vehicles that traveled. And you were correct. On the 4th, I pulled the data off the trailer at 5 a.m., so that data really should be...
Yeah, the trailer's still there.
Yep.
The trailer's still there, but that's the date that I pulled this data
Right,
off.
right.
The road's been repaved now, so I'd be interested to see what the data shows over the next week or so. There's no obstructions. There were not a lot of vehicles parked on the side of the road when I went through there. I think because of the construction, I'm not sure. But it was a fairly clean drive every day I went through, and I tried to go onto the road, almost daily. So like I said, I wasn't shocked that these speeds were as low as they are. I'm wondering if that will change now that the new pavement is in and the construction equipment is gone.
Yeah, I'm sure. The one thing that they have not finished yet is doing the sides of the roads. There's a pretty good dip on the sides because they've got all their pavement and stuff, and then there's a pretty good, and they haven't done anything to do on the sides yet. So it's quite a it's quite a dip down. If somebody was messing around and actually went down and got too close to that side, they could have some trouble. For one.
Correct.
Yeah. But the speeding, actually, the last couple of days, speeding has been pretty low. There hasn't been, anybody really aggravating it and stuff like that. One of the things I would suggest is somewhere on that road is put a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign up there, because that 35 miles an hour sometimes just sits in people's minds that it's 35 miles an hour speed limit. A 25 sign wouldn't, at each end, with our through truck signs.
We'll have to double check to make sure the speed limit on that road has actually been officially set at 25. That's what we presume it to
I
be.
would hope so.
But that, if you remember, that's not something the municipality can do. You actually need a road engineer that does that. MDOT does that for us. And we may very well have that. I'll just need to verify that before we actually put that
Okay.
sign up, so.
But I would like to see another survey done for the mileage, like Tom had said.
Yeah.
Just to compare.
Oh, yeah.
Because we still have that situation that we had talked about previously on the easterly end, across from the Rowdens where it turns.
Yeah,
So that was a concern.
Yeah.
So maybe we could get another survey in.
oh, yeah, well, the machine's still there.
What I can do is have the trailer collect data without the lights on, so it won't show the speed, it won't flash. It'll sit there, look like it's dead, and it'll collect data that way. Probably give us a better indication as to how fast the actual flow is once the
you're right.
road.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah.
No, I'll have to be
You can do all
extra
kinds of neat
cautious.
things. Do all kinds of neat things.
Whoa,
Oh, you see those things and a number pops up, you're like, whoa.
yeah.
There's no numbers popping up.
Right,
Well, it's not working.
It's not
It is.
working.
yeah, battery's dead.
It's designed to calm the flow of traffic, and that's exactly what it's doing out there, is people see their speed, so they
And they
slow the
slow
vehicle
down,
down.
yeah.
Pardon me. And I think if we shut that off, people will think the radar trailer is dead. That's what it's designed to do, and it'll give us a more accurate
More accurate.
description of the traffic flows.
Well, the other thing is the number of, what I don't think we've really realized, but, or at least people that don't live on that street and stuff realizes the amount of traffic that goes on that street. And that was one of the reasons that I had, I guess, brought up the parking aspect on the street, because there's just so much traffic there that, you know, at some point in time,
They can't
there
park,
there
yep,
could
this
be
is-
really a nasty situation. But right now, until we get the sides of the roads fixed, I don't know that anybody would want to park on that street right now anyway, because they'd have a tough time up and down. And the
My
people
assumption
there,
with the first 2 days
yeah,
of the high flow, 400 numbers that you see on the first 2 days, which was the 29th and the 30th, is probably because they were still working on some of the side roads, and it was forcing the traffic back down that street. But the 293, 272, those flows on the first, second, and third, those are probably pretty accurate for the street.
Yeah.
But that's one direction, so it only collects data on
on the
as
one
the vehicles
direction.
come
Yeah,
onto the side.
exactly, yeah.
And one more thing, Tom. What does it mean when a vehicle is tolerated?
Okay, so the radar trailer has 2 speeds that I program into it. The first one is the actual speed limit, and the second one is the speed that we would consider a tolerable speed in that zone. And I increased that to 30 miles an hour. So any vehicle doing under 30 miles an hour was considered within the tolerated range. And then any vehicle respecting the limit was doing below 25 miles per hour. And the number of speed limit violations, which was 224, would be the total number of the tolerated vehicles plus the vehicles that were above 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
Oh, that's quite a few there then.
That's below average for most of the streets, but I set the tolerated speed a little lower than we normally set it on the trailer. And it does shut off I had it shutting off at 40 miles an hour, so when you hit 40 miles an hour, the sign shuts off. It still records the high speeds. It obviously didn't, because under maximum speeds, there's none that were above 40. But over 40 miles an hour, it shut off, and that would prevent people from going excessively fast to see how high up the sign will go. That does tend to occur, so.
It has.
They look at it like a
It
goal.
happens on the Norwich Walk Road kind of frequently, actually.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll do that, do a little bit more study on it, and then
We'll put this back
come
on
up
as a
with a plan.
workshop item at your
Yes.
next meeting.
Yes,
Yep.
good idea. All right. Second on the 7th order of business is discuss the comprehensive plan public services.
All right. In this section of the comprehensive plan, we're looking at public services such as the seen in general government, emergency services, education, the sewer system. And I would like to thank Dwayne and Tom for providing us with their comprehensive plan updates. It's really nice to have these here. The downside is not everybody in the town can see it, and there was some really good information in them. So I'm going to highlight when it's time some of the things that you've included in your comprehensive plans. So the first item is the fiscal responsibility and public involvement needed in general government. And I know the town manager does a lot with this. Do you want to say anything about this, Michelle? We're looking at working cooperatively with the surrounding towns, which I know that we do. And it says also to utilize a team approach to town government operations amongst department heads. I'm very pleased with the department heads and how they work with you and how you work with them. And I believe it is a joint effort with everybody, but I didn't know if you would want to say anything in this area.
So we do, when it comes to fiscal responsibility, first of all, we do have a very large team approach. That is a majority of what we do, not just with the department heads, but the department heads within their own departments, because what one doesn't know, another may. So especially when it comes to fiscal responsibility, a team approach is always best. We always look for the best way that we can do things in the most fiscally responsible way, such as purchasing, that sort of stuff. We do partner with a lot of outside organizations. The municipality partners with the school on office supply purchases, as well as our fuel purchases. We partner with MDOT when it comes to fuel purchases at their facility. We partner with outside law enforcement organizations. There's been multiple grants this past couple of years with multiple fire departments in which we've participated in, and a lot of grant opportunities in the police side. There's been cost-sharing pieces that we do in public works. We do the cost-sharing approach when it comes to purchasing culverts and our salt, and we partner with the city of Waterville when it comes to sand screening and putting up sand in the winter. So we do a lot of outside organization pieces, and we're always looking for ways in which we can do things that are more fiscally responsible for that. So.
Thank you. I think one of the best cooperative efforts that we've had in recent years is the Fairfield Benton Fire and Rescue Services.
Yep.
That says a lot right there. One thing that we haven't done well is to utilize community involvement, and that's through informational displays and flyers. It's dated. It really should just say, at this point, the town website, and making sure that that's just caught up to date. So when it comes time to rewrite, that will be addressed.
We do a couple of things, though. So not just the town's website, but we do a lot of information that we put out on the town's Facebook page. And not just the town's page, but also the individual department pages that they have. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things that we have done to try to promote involvement in the community is we have a residents welcome packet that we've done that has the ability for folks to be able to know how to volunteer or participate and those sorts of things, dates they should know, and important stuff. So we do that sort of piece.
Yeah, and I forgot about that. I knew that was there. And they do at the town office at the window, when special events are happening, there's usually flyers at the window.
Yes, definitely.
So ongoing, doing well. So the next part is emergency services. And Dwayne supplied us with a fire comprehensive plan update as of 2/20. And just so the public knows, the department is trying to lower the town's fire insurance rating. It has happened. Did you want to go lower than 4.4, Dwayne?
Yes, we only needed around, I think it was 3.66 points to get down to a 3. And had we had the training facility at that time, that would have gave us the points to get there.
Yeah.
So with the training facility, excuse me, in the works, and once it's built, and then we have a couple of years of data of collecting hours of training, ISO will come back and redo the whole schedule, and we should pick up those points.
Yeah. And I also noticed in your update that as of July of this year, we became the #1 busiest EMS service for regional transporting. Am I reading it right?
does not.
Non-transporting.
Transport.
On transport. What am I missing here?
So no, we are the busiest,
Non-transporting.
that does not transport, meaning we are the busiest station
Okay,
that does not
that's it.
have an ambulance.
Okay, so we are the busiest non-transporting department in the state of Maine for just going to accidents and servicing people there, or homes. Yes.
EMS folks.
We were second to Waterville, and now they have picked up transport capabilities. That's why we are now #1.
Now we're #1. Oh, wow, that was interesting. And then there's also the Central Maine Mutual Aid Group, which goes back to us talking about working cooperatively with other agencies. And the Central Maine Mutual Aid Group is with a new training facility, so people will know. And there are actually 12 to 13 departments that are involved with this. So I thought that was a very good effort on your part to see that the training facility is going to be working and up to par with everybody else's expectations. So, good job.
Yeah.
12 to 13 people, wow. So did anybody else have anything to wanted to ask Wayne?
This is a good, excellent report.
Good report.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Excellent report, Dwayne. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome. So now we're going to move on to the police department. And the question I have for Tom is, what's the date on this, Tom? Is it current?
When was that written?
Yes.
I work on that pretty much yearly, but that one was developed last week. It was
Okay.
finalized last week and submitted at that time.
I had asked for the updates for your meeting.
Right, so it's actually very current. And,
Correct.
yeah, so it was nice to see how many people are actually on staff for the police department. And it was the fact that you got $23,500 in grant money from Homeland Security for the coronavirus. And
Yep.
how are you using that money?
We use that to supplement the current budget, so I'll purchase equipment that we normally would budget for. For instance, this year, our cruiser radios they were old when I got here, and I've been here 7 years, so I'm assuming that they're going to be probably over 15 years old. But they're very expensive, so this year's grant money went for new police cruiser radios to replace them all with new portable radios for every officer, so that all of our radio equipment is brand new. And that grant, I just received an email the other day saying that grant has been approved. We're waiting for the final details to be hammered out, and then we will commence to ordering that equipment.
Good, good. And then the other part is, you had talked about working with like the sheriff's department and other police agencies when we're
Correct.
short. How often does that really happen?
It actually happens quite often. We have low staffing levels from 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. in the morning, actually 6:30 or so when the captain and I start coming in. There's only one officer on duty. So Waterville Police Department, Oakland, Winslow, all of our surrounding departments work with us and help us, and we do the same with them. If they have a call that's serious in their town, our officers will automatically go over to assist them. Their officers come over to assist us as well. And that can happen anytime during the day. Sometimes during the day, we'll have an incident at one end of town, and half of the department or the entire department is headed to that, and a call will come in another area, and we'll call Waterville, or we'll call Oakland, and they'll cross the line and handle those calls for us. We do the same for them.
Thank you. And then to see your short-term and long-term capital plan, have you done any repairs on the police station this year?
This year, no. But it is in good shape, other than the minor sinking issue. We've noticed that some of the windows, the gaps in the windows have started opening back up again, so that's going to have to be looked at. We've transitioned this year the entire building, the entire inside of the building to LED lighting, which has saved us tremendously. We haven't lost a light bulb since we transitioned to those, and we were buying light bulbs monthly. I was putting lights in the building. So the entire building now, garage and everything, has been transferred over to LED lighting. We have heat pumps that heat and cool the building. Those were put in several years ago. All new windows, all new doors. Garage door openers were put in a couple of years ago. We're going to have to look at probably new garage doors shortly, probably within the next 4 or 5 years. It's had new flooring.
What about the jail cells? Did you get those taken care of and change them over to office space, or?
Well, we would like to eventually. They're concrete block walls, and so we have the actual booking area in there. It would be nice in a next step to remove all of that, the blocking that's in there, because I don't think that that's bearing walls. And if we could remove all of that, it would add, it would give us some breathing room in the building. But obviously that's going to be long term, because I think that would be a fairly expensive move. There's wiring and some of that blocking material. But the cells are no longer used.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for your report. Our emergency services are working well with other agencies where it's a joint effort all the way around. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Dwayne.
You're welcome.
Item number 23 was to look at the solid waste management and recycling services, and I think we've made some excellent decisions in the past 4 years, considering fiber rights issues, and sticking with, and forgive me, I can't remember the name of the place in Norwich Walk.
Waste management.
Thank you. Waste management. I mean, that was a really good foresight. So we've made great gains in that area. Ongoing progress is being made with the sewer system, with the purchase of cameras already this year, and I think there's training that's going on for them. So
And that camera system will be such a huge investment when it does come to our actual road projects, because we will have the ability to do thorough inspections on our system there before we do any construction on the road. So we will be less likely to do full construction and then find out 3 months later that a section needs to be torn up because a piece of the sewer pipe is broken. So this is going to save us money in the long run, so.
well, that's good. And then, of course, with education, to promote learning and involvement in civic affairs. I think what's happening right now here is a good example of that, and working collaboratively with the agencies that are needed so that we can provide a service. I know that I would like to have more representation with the budget, but I'm only speaking for myself. And that is it under this one. So I would like to make a suggestion that on our next meeting, we combine the financial resources, agriculture, and forestry together, and then we'll take a look at the land use plan on another day, and the capital investment process, we usually get a review of every year when it comes time. I think it's, is it in January we do that?
It's fluctuated.
Because we've got a new company
We
now.
do have a new company, so we need to get that scheduled for you before, we usually like to do it before winter. We don't want them traveling
Yeah, so
during
probably in
snowstorms.
December. So that would work
But yeah,
well.
usually that's where it ends up. And it'll give the new company, it had been looked at as an item for this meeting, but pushing it out a little bit further would be good for you, simply because the fact that it'll give them a little bit more time with the funds to know They're performing quite well right now, which is
Yes,
good,
they
as
are.
long as the market continues to do well. We're still investigating the Crawford Fund piece, so to make sure that it's a more secure investment model, and still working on all of that, so.
So I'm seeing about 3 more sessions for the
Yeah.
comprehensive plan. And then what I'll do is I'll go through all my notes, and then in January, I'll present you with what we've come up with on what needs improvements and things that need to be looked at. And this was written in 2014, and according to the state laws, every 12 years it should be looked at. So it's almost like the halfway mark anyways.
And I'm going to look into the fact of whether or not they're going to be interested in actually receiving a copy of our review, because that may help us. We actually have a letter from the state about our comprehensive plan and when it was created, and it came up recently because we needed to use it as part of an application process for the senior housing project at Mountain Ave. And the copy of that letter went with everything, so it may be good to have them recognize the review that you've done in conjunction with your original letter, so I think that would be a really good thing.
So that should be at probably the second meeting in January, because we're going to be busy the first one.
Probably.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephanie. All right, now we'll move on to other council business. Stephanie, do you have anything?
Well, I would just like to remind our citizens that of the hazardous waste disposal that's taking place on this Saturday.
Yeah.
And you do need to get pre-registered at the town office. I didn't have time to check to see if it can be done online.
No,
Have
you
to-
have you have to go
So you actually have to come to the town office
with a list.
with a list of, thank you. We did it last year.
Because I did
so-
it this year, you have to have a list, fill out the quantities you're taking with you, so.
Yeah.
Because there's a specific color piece of paper that you have to take with you
It's-
to Winslow.
That's right.
It's purple.
And that's how they know, because that also is a joint effort, and collaboration amongst municipalities. So there's multiple municipalities that go that day. And every town picks their own color sheet of paper. So that's how they know how to bill
And the-
us for the tonnage that
And
is
the
taken.
time is 8 to 12, and when I signed up, I asked, they're saying, go anytime, because you used to have a date.
You used to have to
Every
come up
day.
with a specific time frame to
Right.
go.
No, it's not. This is just show up between 8 and 12.
I
It's
think
a
they've
very
got a different
well-organized
company that's
system.
running it this year.
It's very good program.
That's
Yes, it
part
is.
of our programs with KV Cog. Coordinates that service for us.
Oh. Right.
It's something that KV Cog does for us.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Michael?
Just let our viewers know, get out and vote. What's that?
That is correct. And all of the other things that we discussed
Yeah.
today in the Halloween, and hope everybody has a very good, happy Halloween, and that we do not have any major problems.
Yep. I want to echo Mike on his get out and vote, and I just have a few questions. I have the senior circle at the Grange on Friday, the October 16th. They're having a roast beef dinner for the seniors at 11 o'clock.
October what?
What's that?
I didn't catch the date, October.
October 16th, this Friday.
2 days.
Well, if you're interested, just get a hold of Deb, just get a hold of Barbara at the Grange, and she'll let you in the right place, who to contact.
Very good.
Also, too, if we don't meet between now and Veterans Day, I just want to wish my brothers and sisters a happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mark?
Good.
You're good. Okay. All right,
actually
so,
I have one thing, John, that I forgot
Yeah,
to put
go
in my
ahead.
manager's report.
I'm sorry.
If folks have noticed, as of the 1st of October, the decorative lighting downtown here on Main Street is purple.
Yes,
The
looks
string
very
lights are
nice.
purple. That is actually in honor of Domestic Violence Appreciation Month this
Okay.
month. You'll notice the police department is also lit up purple. The fire department is currently in red. That's for firefighter awareness month. there's a week. And then they're going to be switching over to orange in honor of Halloween. So the orange and the purple should complement each other quite nicely downtown. So-
Yeah, I did want to mention that, too. I thought they did a very good job with the lights.
They did.
Downtown, and a welcome to Fairfield.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, we have a couple of light receptacles that are awaiting repairs, but
Yeah.
they
No,
should
it looks-
all be
looks
lit
very
up, so
nice
it was
when you
good.
go through town.
I just have a alibi question. You talk about lighting, come on the off-ramp, on and off, around 132, the lights are not working. It's very dark when you come on
132,
the
they're
off-ramp.
not working.
Not working for the last half a month.
No, I wasn't aware. Nobody said anything, so thank you. We'll find out.
You'd have thought DOT.
Is that
would check
southbound
it
or
out.
northbound?
Because I,
South or northbound?
both.
Both?
When you get off the off-ramp, the whole interstate's not even lit.
Interesting.
Because I get up there a lot, so I can go up in my house, it's not even lit.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous.
Yeah.
We'll follow up. They're not ours, but I'll make
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
DOT is aware.
Right.
We just don't want accidents and down that area.
Preferably not. We don't want to keep the fire department busy.
We're busy enough going down in my house back.
They've been doing trimming in that area. I'm wondering if they
Trimmed.
did something.
Trimmed something they shouldn't have trimmed.
We'll find out.
Okay. Anything else? All right. The next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be held on November 18th, 2020, and also held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom and in the council chambers at 6:30 PM. At this time, we shall recess, sign all documents that require the signature of council members, and then return to session and go into an executive session for MRSA Title I.
And I'll make the motion to recess.
Thank you.
Second.
We are recessed.
Just one document this evening for you.